The Red Lake Indian Reservation, located in northwestern Minnesota, United States, was established in the mid-1930s. It's the home of the Ojibwe people and is the largest reservation in Minnesota. This video will be talking about one of the reservation's residents and how his actions and beliefs ended the lives of 9 innocent children. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has threat perspectives on different types of crime. One crime in particular has seen some growth since the late 90s. Spree shootings, or rampage killings, has been the focus of the FBI for the past 2 decades. And to truly understand the story that I am about to tell you, you need to understand the details of what truly defines a spree shooter and the psychology behind their actions. According to the FBI, the definition of a spree killer is a person who's killed 2 or more victims in one event that took place in 2 or more locations, with no emotional cooling off period between the murders. Before a true definition was determined, spree killers were just lumped in with regular mass murderers. Some were even seen as serial killers, when in reality they weren't, because their killings were disconnected. They were unfeeling. Spree killers are known for not having any serious emotional connection to their victims. They simply just want to cause the most damage in the least amount of time. Spree killings can present themselves in multiple different ways, and the most infamous way for it to present itself is school shootings. Over the past 20 years, the pathology describing school shootings has grown. In the beginning, people thought the motivation to shoot up a school would be bullying, but over time that's changed. People have realized that most school shooters are simply mentally ill, and bullying may be a factor that could exacerbate their illness, but bullying by itself is not a strong enough motivator to become a spree killer. There are additional threat assessment perspectives that can predict whether or not someone will become a school shooter or describe the risk factors that might encourage someone to become a school shooter. This list in particular shows the major risk factors that you could use to identify someone who could potentially become a school shooter. You won't be surprised that the person we're about to talk about exhibits many of these risk factors. The Red Lake Secondary Complex, formerly known as the Red Lake Senior High School, is located on the Red Lake Indian Reservation and has a little over 300 students. Construction of the school began in 1935 and welcomed its first students in 1936. 69 years later, Red Lake Senior High School would open its doors to Jeff Wise, a 16-year-old student with a troubled past. Jeff was born August 8, 1988, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Weiss was a descendant of the Native American people of the Ojibwe and was born as an only child of an unmarried couple living in Red Lake, Minnesota. As a young child, he would be physically abused by his alcoholic mother, and throughout his adolescence, he would have multiple different fathers. One father in particular, named Timothy Troy, would allegedly abuse Weiss. His mother would choose to marry this man, and the abuse would subsequently continue. On March 5, 1999, his mother and one of her cousins were involved in a car accident, in which his mother suffered severe brain damage that led to her institutionalization in Bloomington. Weiss was placed into the care of his paternal grandmother, Shilda, but was also cared by his 2 paternal aunts. Due to his disrupted family life, Weiss attended a number of schools during his early years. He would continue through middle school quite easily, but in 8th grade he would have to repeat because of truancy. Though he passed through elementary school and middle school with relative ease academically, socially it was an uphill battle. He would be consistently bullied about his appearance and by his clothing choice. After enrolling at Red Lake Senior High School, the bullying continued. He was seen as withdrawn by teachers and a goth kid. Other students acknowledged how nonviolent he was and that he usually just remained by himself. People would call him names and he would remain withdrawn. Yet with these social pressures, he maintained an adequate social life. He had friends, and he engaged in conversation with girls, even though he never dated any of them. When talking to his friends, he would describe his life at Red Lake and how he just wanted to leave. He would describe Red Lake as a place where people would choose alcohol over friendship, where women neglect their own flesh and blood for relationships with men, and where he could not escape the grave he's continually digging for himself. His depression worsened during his years in high school. He would attempt suicide twice, and his grandparents and aunts decided to prescribe him fluoxetine. But unfortunately, the fluoxetine didn't help. It didn't cure his depression, it didn't make him feel better. If anything, it encouraged him to do the worst. The fluoxetine encouraged him to become even more withdrawn from society. His isolation encouraged him to research and look into specific political ideologies, one in particular being Nazism. Jeff Wise would frequent a neo-Nazi internet forum and a socialist Green Party forum, these two places being the catalyst for his political ideology, and this is where he would read and share posts about how he felt about specific political issues. It wouldn't take long for his beliefs to bleed into reality. The first case of this happening was when he fought a pupil at school who had a different political ideology from him. He believed that this student was a communist, and as a result, Jeff chose to beat him up. This fight didn't incur any attention from the school administrators, but acclaim did. Jeff Wise chose to tell one of his peers that he planned on shooting up the school on Adolf Hitler's birthday, which also fell on the 5th anniversary of the Columbine shooting. This comment made by Jeff had him expelled from the school. He would attempt to finish his education at home, but in reality, he was just using the off time to plan his final act. On March 21st, 2005, Jeff Wise decided to kill himself and 9 others. A year prior to this day, Jeff Wise decided to purchase an illegal firearm, a .22 caliber pistol. He then proceeded to kill his grandfather, 58-year-old Darrell Lesser Sr., while he was asleep in bed. Michelle Sagana, 32 years old, was his grandfather's girlfriend. She was walking up the stairs from the basement with fresh laundry when Jeff Wise shot her. Jeff then quickly gathered all of his grandfather's police-issued firearms and stole his grandfather's police car and drove it to school. At the school, Weiss shot and killed unarmed security guard Derek Brunn, 28, before going inside the school. Once inside, Weiss fired randomly down a hallway and in a classroom, killing teacher Nueva Wincott Rogers, 62, and students Dwayne Lewis, 15, Chase Lucier, 15, Chanel Rosebar, 15, Thoreen Stillday, 15, and Alicia White, 14. After engaging in a brief shootout with police and being injured 3 times in the lower back, right leg, and right arm, Jeff Wise then retreated to another classroom and died by suicide using a shotgun. The aftermath of the shooting was pretty chaotic. Parents, families, political leaders had all different types of conclusions and theories ready to attempt to justify and explain what happened, but we know that the explanation was simpler than some strange conspiracy. Jeff Wise was a monster. He was depressed, he was sick, and instead of reaching out for help, he chose to end his life and the lives of others so that he wouldn't be alone in his misery. He wanted to cause as much damage as he could before ending his life because he wanted to drag people down with him. 15 small grants were given to the families of the victims who were affected by the shooting. $200,000 in total was given out, including $5,000 to Jeff Wise's family. This $5,000 donation was controversial because people acknowledged the way that his family treated him and the way that his family raised him is what resulted him in killing 10 people. But a tribal leader who was in control of the grants said that his family had a double burden. They too had lost a relative, Jeff Wise's grandfather, and now they had to live with the fact that he, Jeff Wise, is the cause of it all. Hello, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you guys are excited for the Morbid Reality Marathon this week. From today to Thursday, we have Morbid Reality specials, and on Friday, we have r/Morbid Reality 11, so I hope you guys are excited for that. What I'm really excited to tell you, though, is that Ailurus After Hours is now a true crime and dark history channel. I've been working on this for a little bit, making sure there's some content for you guys. After Friday, after r/Morbid Reality 11, there will be 2 videos released on Saturday onto the new channel, so this week I'm going to be promoting the channel at the end of this video, end of all the videos really, and I hope you guys subscribe. If you're interested in having a channel dedicated to basically Morbid Reality content, go ahead and subscribe. There's a link in the description and link in the pinned comment, so go ahead and check it out. Big thanks to the artist who went out of her way to make sure this channel looks snazzy. I think it looks great. Her situation, all of her socials are going to be linked in the description of the videos uploaded to that channel, so go ahead and check her out if you are interested in having similar work done. And as always, we gotta thank the Patreon supporters that make content like this possible. A big thank you to Unikitty, Carter Not Steve, The Fake Musician, Light Star, Red Pyramid Thing, Buckethead, Samantha Bellhart, Admin Faneker, AV8B Harrier 2 Plus, Swag Daddy 69, Zach F, Darth Titan, Fafnir Stuff, Keely, Dunder Has Hawk, Caroline Banana, Spiritus Kitsune, Viva LaRue, Julian Pullman, Benny's Big Bean Burrito, Knobs, Lady Laughs a Lot, Swiss Patreon user, Muffy Lou Who, Noah, John Robinson, and Catherine Taylor. Thank you so much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. And if you want to help support the channel, there's 2 links in the description. One on my merch store and one on my Patreon. Both funds go directly into the channel so we can maintain what's happening here. And as always, stay zesty.